Hi everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Laurie. I'm so excited to share with you today two different things. First, I've got to share with you these fun mug rugs. I just love them. They're beautiful, and what I really love about them is you can add so much glitter, and I just wanted to show you this first one. It's called Not Today, I'm Booked. Isn't that so clever with all the different books? And I wanted to add the glitter, so I added both the blue, and this beautiful gold colored glitter to make the books pop right off the shelf. One of the things I love about the Mug Rug Volume 3 is it just encompasses so many. This shows you on the back a lot of the different designs. It covers so much. It covers friends, loved ones, pets, military, sewing, just so many different fun things. I really love that. So this is a great one to pick up at your local quilt shop, and I'm going to share with you, you can see right here, it's got a lot of satin stitching. And I know we've had a few questions about looping. How do you prevent your thread from looping? And here we've got one. Of course, we all have those days where we have a little bit of issues or tension issues with our machines, and we need to work those out. And as you can see, there's some looping that's happening here. I wanted to make sure that I could show you the looping. I don't know if you can see that, but the looping is really frustrating when you're making a design and all of a sudden your thread starts looping and you just get really frustrated. So I want to show you or share with you about 5 different tips that you can try and use that will help prevent your project from looping, or if it is looping, it will help fix that.
Before we get super into that, we have a question.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone would like for you to share what embroidery scissors you use.
Oh, yes. So the embroidery scissors that I like to use, I don't have them right here, but there's 3 different kinds, and I love using, there's duckbills, if you've heard of duckbills, and the other one is, it's a set of Ginger, and they've got a rounded tip, and then also there's nippers, and they're like a little tiny scissor that we squeeze together, you pinch it together, and it cuts. It's kind of like a really fun working mechanism. I really like having good tools. That's a great question, because tools can make all the difference in your project. Are there any other good questions out there to start with? Great, thank you. All right, so I wanted to cover tension. The first thing I wanted to share with you about tension is, as you can see, this is the back of one of our test projects right here from Ginger's Kitchen, and you can see right here that there is supposed to be white bobbin thread, and as you can see, you can hardly see the bobbin thread. It was pulling so tightly. So that is something that shows that the bottom is too tight and the top is too loose. Here's one that actually shows a lot of white. You can see a lot of white going on here. That means that there's too much white bobbin, and it will start to creep on the front. If you've ever had that where you can see some of the white edging right here, the bobbin thread started showing up on my top. If you've ever had that happen, then yes, you've got a tension issue that needs to be addressed. And here it shows right here, if you look through here, that's a perfect looking tension. That's what we want to see. You want to be able to see color on both sides with just a little bit of white right in the middle. That would be a really good tension, and then you will have the best results from that. Now, how do you fix this tension? That's a great question. First of all, if you think of tension, your bottom thread and your top thread, they are interlooping, right? So once they interloop, they're going to be pulling against each other to create that perfect tension. So if your top is pulling way too tight and your bottom is pulling way too loose, you're going to have issues with your tension. So what I highly recommend is checking your settings on your machine, or check your manual to see how to loosen or tighten both your top and bottom. So if you're looking at something that's too tight on the bottom, I would loosen my bottom tension thread. Then I would snug up the top so that there's a nice tension between the two. And then the next tip would be needles. Needles make a big difference. Whatever machine type your machine calls out for, whether it's Classe, Schmetz, Oregon, whatever brand of needle you like, you can find different ones that have top stitch or a large eye. So if you look for one that has a large eye, that's the little hole that's down at the bottom of your the needle point. I recommend when you're doing satin stitching something that's a smaller size needle like a 75, but a top stitch will have a larger eye, meaning a larger hole, allowing for that thread to clearly get through that needle without too much tension. So it really produces a really pretty stitch. Another tip would be your bobbins. Make sure your bobbins are wound well. You can tell if a bobbin is wound well because it's nice and flat. It doesn't angle. They're nice and flat across. And make sure you avoid, and I messed this bobbin up on purpose just so you could see what you don't want. See, there's a tail hanging, and this one is going to hit and tangle with that tail. Or if it's been wound so it's looser and tighter in different locations, that can cause a problem. Now, I purposely did it on this particular color bobbin because it's easy to see. But if you correctly wind your bobbins, then your machines are meant to wind the bobbin to the correct tension that you're going to be using on that particular machine. So make sure you follow that. Last, there's also another tip of your top thread needs to make sure that it is freely flowing. And if you're having a machine where your top thread keeps catching as it's going through and it's not giving, it's pulling too tight on the top tension, I would recommend getting a cone, and then you take it through this top part of the cone and then you thread your machine, and that will allow your thread to yes, if I could say that, through your machine and not get caught. Because if you've ever actually just tugged one time on your machine, it can actually break your needle if it's too tight. Last but not least, yes, slow the machine down. I know that's just not everyone's favorite thing to do, is slow a machine down, because you want to get through your project quickly. But if you slow it down when you get to certain stitches, such as a satin stitch where it's a lot longer stitch, it will really turn out a lot better. And I hope that you will try these different tips and tricks to see that you get the best stitch out that you can. Happy stitching, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.